أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أفضل الموجودات العبد المؤيد الرسول المصدد المصطفى الأمجد والمحمود الأحمد سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا صاحب الوقار والسكينة المدفون بأرض المدينة أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين واللعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين آمين يا رب العالمين. فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأنزلنا من السماء ماء طهورا صلوات. As our series of lectures focuses on the holy, the grand personality of Abul Fadl Abbas, and tonight being the second night, the topic of tonight's lecture is Al-Abbas Sayyidul Ma. Abbas, the Lord of the water. Yesterday was an introduction to his holy personality. And today is that connection that Abul Fadl al-Abbas has with water. And for that reason, I've quoted an ayah of the Holy Quran, Al-Furqan 48, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا, that we have sent down water from the sky so that it is a means of purification. It's pure and it purifies. لَنُهْيَ بِهِ بَلْدَةً مَيْتَةً, so that with water, when it falls upon dead land, it revives the land. Water gives life to dead land. بَلْدَةً مَيْتَةً, dead land. Sometimes a land can lay dead and barren for a long time. The moment water touches it, it brings life to it. And then he says, وَنُسْقِيَهُ, and it is me, Allah, who sends down water. With water brings the dead land back to life. And we give water مِمَّا خَلَقْنَا, from what we have created. From the jinn, from the ins, to the human beings, to whatever that takes water. Animals, humans, soil, rocks, anything that absorbs water, Allah says, we give water. نُسْقِيَهُ. In other words, giving water is so noble, Allah has attributed it to Himself. We send down the water and we quench the thirst. And hence, for this reason, one of the best deeds within the religion of Islam that one can do is to quench the thirst of a thirsty person. Yeah? Let's stop here for a minute. Sunni and Shia narrations mention this. A person came to the Holy Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, Ya Rasulullah, my mother has passed away. I want to give something in her niyaba, something on her behalf. What should I give? The Prophet says, go and quench the thirst of the thirsty. And the thawab will go to your marhuma mother, the one who has passed. Yes? Somebody says, what is the best form of sadaqah? You can give money, you can give clothing. But the hadith says the best is to quench the thirst of a thirsty, to give water. And even today, as soon as the month of Muharram begins, you go Iraq, you go Arba'in, you walk, they give you water in the name of Hussein. Free of cost, free of charge. You go to Pakistan, same thing. Muharram begins, people come out of their homes and they're giving water to everybody. What is it for? Oh, it's Muharram. Our Imam died thirsty. To honor his legacy, we give water. Yes? And so for this reason, water has been attributed to life itself. They asked the sixth holy Imam, Yabna Rasulillah, everything has a taste. You taste orange juice, it tastes of oranges. Yes? Because it's made of that. You taste apple juice, it tastes of apples. They said, Yabna Rasulillah, what is the taste of water? The Imam says, the taste or the flavor of water is life. Who would give an answer like that? Because water is life. In fact, everything is from water. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Allah says, we have created everything from water. The human being, the body is mainly water. Brain is mainly water. The earth is more water than land. You take away water from the human body, it dies. You take away water from the earth, the inhabitants of the earth will die. And hence to give water, the narrations say, is to give life. And to stop water is to kill. Yeah? To give water. Because water is life. It is the soul of life. It is the origin of life. It is the source of life. Water is life. The best sadaqah, give water. Walau, the hadith, even if it's a thirsty animal, a dog, a thirsty dog, a cat, you give water, you will be rewarded for that deed. On the day of judgment, the thawab will be there. He gave water to a thirsty animal, a dying dog, a dying cat, any other animal. Doesn't even have to be an insan. But of course, the higher the rank of the thirsty person, the greater the reward. So now if giving water to an animal carries thawab, then imagine being the one who goes to get water for Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Imagine the rank, imagine the thawab, the reward. Somebody goes, gets you water, he got water. He got water for a thirsty person, thawab for him. What about if somebody goes to go and get water for Hussein and is killed in that path? I'm taking you where? To Abbas ibn Ali. Salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Recite salawat. One of the historians, he writes, the Kaiser of Rome, Rome was, it was big before Islam. It was one of the main superpowers, Rome and Persia. And then Islam came in Hijaz and Islam spread. And so Islam and Rome would touch borders. And so the Muslims fought the Romans in the battle of Muta, where Ja'far ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi was killed. The Kaiser of Rome, he sends a letter with a small glass bottle to Muawiyah in Syria, in Damascus. Banu Umayyah, they're a big power. The Romans knew about them. So he writes him a letter. He says, this is a small glass bottle. Put everything in it and send it back to me. So he reads this. He says, what is this supposed to mean? A small bottle. And I'm supposed to put everything in it and send it back to him. He calls Abdullah ibn Abbas. Says, what should I do? I have no idea. He sends me a small glass bottle. He says, put everything in it and send it back to me. What if I don't? This is a disgrace to Islam. Abdullah ibn Abbas was the student of Ali ibn Abi Talib, right? He says, fill it with water and send it back to him. Because everything originates from water. He fills it with water and he sends it back. And he's astonished. He's astonished at the level of intellect of the Muslims. Even though it doesn't come from the ruler, it comes from Abdullah ibn Abbas. But where does he get it from? Amirul Mu'mineen. Imamul Muttaqeen. They said to Abdullah ibn Abbas, you're smart. Where do you get it from? It says, from my teacher, Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says, what is your knowledge? And you're a man of knowledge. What is your knowledge as compared to the knowledge, to the ilm of Ali? He says, like a drop in the ocean. Like a drop in the ocean. Now, Muawiyah refers to the drop, but he ignores the ocean. That shows you his IQ. He's happy to refer to the drop, but he doesn't want nothing to do with the ocean. Even though Ali is the ocean of all oceans, the ocean in front of Ali is a drop. Yes? So where do you get it from? Amirul Mu'mineen. Imagine when a man like Ali, somebody asked the second caliph of Islam, Sunni Islam of course, the second caliph is not our caliph. The second caliph for us is Hassan al-Mujtaba. This is the second caliph of Sunni Islam. He says to Amir al-Mu'minin, Ya Ali, why is it that whenever you're questioned, whenever you're asked a question, you have an answer straight away? The holy Imam extends his hand and he says, how many fingers? He says, 5. He says, how did you know? You didn't think, you didn't ponder, you didn't take your time. Because he said, oh Ali, you never take your time, you answer hastily and you know the answer to everything. He says, I have nothing to think about it. Your fingers are in front of me. He says, this is it. Like these 5 fingers are in front of you. This kainat is in front of Ali. This kainat, this kaun, the universe is in front of the eyes of Ali ibn Abi Talib. You know what the Prophet says in regards to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen in his sight? He says, when I went to Mi'raj, the heavenly ascension, whatever I saw, Ali saw that too. Shaykh al-Suduq, marhum in his book, Kitab al-Khisal, one of our classical scholars, this is one of his major works on hadith. Kitab al-Khisal, la Shaykh al-Suduq, rahimahullah. He says, Rasulullah says that there are certain things Allah has given me, and in honor of Ali, Allah has given certain things to Ali ibn Abi Talib as a compensation to what He's given me. For example, He made me a Nabi, He made him a Wasi. Number 2, He gave me the pond of Kawthar. He gave Ali the river of Salsabil in Jannah. He gave me wahi, revelation. He gave him ilham. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Quran. He gave me revelation and he gave Ali inspiration. He gave me jawami'ul kalim. He gave me the knowledge over all languages. And he gave Ali ibn Abi Talib knowledge over all sciences. And then when he went to Mi'raj, he opened the doors of heavens for me and I saw what I saw. And he removed the hijab from the eyes of Ali so that what I saw on the arsh, Ali saw that in the land. And so, back to water. And such was the history of the Hashemites. You see, Banu Hashim were always known to give water. And Banu Umayyah were always known to stop the water. Yazid stopped the water. But where did he get it from? His father. Siffin. You remember the water was stopped in Siffin? When the enemy took the Furat, the Euphrates, they said, stop the water. Amir al-Mu'mineen sent a message. This is not the way of Islam. We're fighting, but you say you're Muslim. This is not the way of Islam. But he still stopped the water. And he showed the world that he was not upon the way of Islam. Yeah? And so the water was stopped. And so Amir al-Mu'mineen's army with Malik al-Ashtar, Imam al-Hasan, they attacked. And they got control of the banks of the Euphrates. Now they said, oh, Ali will now take revenge. Ali will do the same. We didn't give him water, now he's going to stop water as well. But Ali was a son of Abu Talib. He's not like them. He says, no. The water is open for all. So it goes to show that water is a basic human right. You know, in Karbala, Imam Hussein asked for water on numerous occasions. But you will not find a single instance. And let this sink in. Remember this. Numerous occasions on the day of Ashura and before that, Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi asked for water. But he never asked for food. Was he not hungry? Of course he was hungry. They were hungry and thirsty. You remember the thirst, but you don't remember the hunger. It's not that the water was blocked and food was, being given to them. Food, water, everything was shut off. But Imam Hussein only asks for water. He doesn't ask for food. Why? Because water is a basic human necessity. Even today, some of the countries, I don't know what the rules here are, but in Europe, you go into a shop, a restaurant that has a tap, you ask them for water. By law, they have to give it to you. By law. You ask for water, we'll give you water. Basic human necessity. So Imam Hussein, by asking water, shows the world this is a basic human necessity. Nobody can stop water on anybody. Food he doesn't ask for. Maybe because there is an element in it that somebody may say, look, no, food is too much. But water is a basic necessity. Allah has made it for everybody. The river is, what did they say? Oh, Hussein, the dogs and the pigs will have this, but you won't. Maqatil. These are hard sentences, but they're in the books. The horses will have it, but you won't. Now history from all of Banu Hashim, from Hashim to Abdul Muttalib, to Abu Talib, Abdullah, all of them were known to give water. That Zamzam which was started by Ismail alayhi salam had vanished, had become dry. Nobody knew of it. And so in the time of Abdul Muttalib, they said, let's dig another well, because Makkah, nobody lived in Makkah, right, until Zamzam began. Life, again, water is life. You have water, everybody's going to live there. It becomes a city. Makkah, dry, barren land, nobody wants to live there. Zamzam begins, people start living there. So Makkah was a city which was founded by Ismail alayhi salam. But then that well vanished and it remained hidden for some years until Abdul Muttalib dug it up again. So Makkah was then brought back to life by the ancestors of Rasulullah, the ancestors of Abul Fadl Abbas. Salamullahi alayhi. Now the Hujjaj would come. It was the job of Banu Hashim to give them water. Abdul Muttalib would give water. Abu Talib would give water. In fact, they had dug ponds. They would take the Zamzam, they'd put it into the pond. Everybody drink out of here. They'd dug another pond. They'd put milk in it. In the water, they would throw raisins in it to make it sweet water. They would serve, like you give niyaz here, tabarruk here. This is the sunnah of the Hashemites, the ancestors of the Prophet. The Hujjaj are coming here for the ziyarah of the house of God. We'll give it to them. And this was seen as something of honor. If somebody even did that for a day, they would take pride in it. We are the ones who give water. Banu Hashim always had it. So Banu Hashim were known to give water. Banu Umayyah were known to stop water. It goes back. It's in the lineage. It's in the blood. The good is in the blood and the evil is in the blood. Yes? So now comes the time of Amirul Mu'mineen. You know the famous hadith? On the day of judgment, the pond of Kawthar will belong to Rasulullah. But the one who will give water will be Ali ibn Abi Talib. The one who gives water. And anybody who drinks the water of the pond of Kawthar will never feel thirsty again. So the pond belongs to Rasulullah, but the one who gives water is Ali. In the same way, huwa qasimun nari wal jannah. Heaven and hell belong to Allah. The one who divides them is Ali. Yes? Bukhari says this, Sahihul Bukhari. And everybody trusts Bukhari, right? Why? Because the Rawi is Abu Hurairah. MashaAllah, they love him. What does he say? He says there will be certain companions who will be dragged away from the pond of Kawthar. Bukhari, Sunni book, not Shia. Before you say, where did I get it from? Certain companions will be dragged away by the angels. Get him away. Get him away from the pond of Kawthar, the house of Kawthar. And Rasulullah will say, Ya Allah, ashabi, ashabi. My companions, my companions. Where are you taking them? Ashabi, ashabi. They're my companions, where are they going? And a call will come out, a call will say, Ya Rasulullah. Yes, that is true. But they diverted from the real religion after you. They created innovations and bid'ah. They changed the face of religion. So at least one thing is clear. The Prophet will say, these are my companions. And Allah will not deny that. Allah will not deny the fact that they are His companions. In fact, Allah will say, yes, they are your companions. But what they did after you, they don't deserve a sip of the pond of Kawthar. What they deserve is over there. Yes? Kawthar. Before I come to Abul Fadl, it's in the blood of Abbas. You see this water? Giving water, this is all Abbas knew. You remember in the Battle of Badr, in the month of Ramadan, the 17th night? It was a stormy night. The Muslims got thirsty. They didn't have any water. Rasulullah says, who will go to the well of Badr? There's a well of Badr. He knew. The Prophet has ilmul ghaib. He says, who will go to the well of Badr and get some water? The companions say it's a stormy night. We're scared. Nobody wants to go. As was the case in Khaybar and Khandaq and Uhud and Hunayn. MashaAllah, as they say, history repeats itself. Again in Badr, it's too far and the enemies are close. Nobody gets up except one, the son of Abu Talib. Ya Ali, go and get water. Amirul Mu'mineen reaches the wells of Badr. He climbs into the well. He fills the water bag, the leather bag, it was a leather bag. He comes back. Now the historians write, on his way back to Rasulullah, there is a storm. The deserts have storm, sandstorm. He sat and he waited. He covered himself and he waited for the storm to pass. The storm passed, he got up, he moved forward. Another storm. He sits again. He waits for the storm to pass. He gets up, three storms in one night. He sits again until eventually that storm is done and he reaches Rasulullah. Rasulullah takes the water, gives it to the Muslim. He embraces his brother Ali. He hugs him. He kisses him on his forehead. And with the companions there, it's as if Rasulullah wants to tell something to the companions. Ya Ali, You took too long to get back. Of course, Rasulullah knows. Ilmul Ghaib, his knowledge is connected with the knowledge of Allah. But there was a point he wanted to make to the companions. You took too long. What happened? He says, Ya Rasulullah, what can I say? On the way back, there were 3 storms. And each storm I had to sit and wait it out. Rasulullah smiles and he looks at Amirul Mu'mineen and says, Ya Ali, those were not storms. The first storm was Jibreel with 1,000 malaika. The second storm was Mikael with 1,000 malaika. The third storm was Israfil with 1,000 malaika who descended to give you salams and salutations. One night, 3,003 angels. And so one of the Sunni ulama, he says, it's only Ali who in one night earns 3,003 virtues and merits. 1,000 malaika, 1,000 plus 3. Jibreel, Mikael, Israfil. Only Ali in history. This is a father. Now come to the son. Sheikh Qalbasi, in his famous book, Kitab Khasa'isul Abbasiyah, he says one day, Amirul Mu'mineen is sitting. With him are his sons Hassan, Hussein, and Abu al-Fadl Abbas. And the narrator writes, the Rawi says, فَعَطَشَ الْحُسَيْنِ. While they were sitting, Imam Hussein became thirsty. And Abu al-Fadl knew. وَعَرَفَ ذَلِكَ Abu al-Fadl. Imam Hussein sitting there becomes thirsty. Abu al-Fadl knows. His young boy, he gets up, he runs home. He says, Ya Ummah, to his mother Baneen, Ya Ummah, Inna Sayyidi wa Mawlai Imam al-Husayn Adshana. My master, my Mawla has become thirsty. Can I get him water? She says, of course. She gets up. Haste, the hadith says she rushes up. She's sitting, she rushes up. She gets a cup, she fills it with water, and she puts it on Abbas's head to carry it. And he rushes back. Now look what the hadith says. He rushes back. As he rushes back, the water is dropping from the cup that he's holding onto his shoulders. And Amirul Mu'mineen sees Abu al-Fadl Abbas in that state. He says, Ya Bunayya ya Abu al-Fadl, Anta saqiyul atsha al-Karbala. He remembers Karbala. And he says, you are the one who will go to get the water for the thirsty of Karbala. So from a young age, this is all Abu al-Fadl Abbas knew. Service and obedience of Ahlul Bayt, especially Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Now imagine what sort of tarbiyat this holy personality has. So when you think of water, now think Furat for a minute. Usually these things are discussed in Masaib, but not in detail. But let me give you just a few details that are related with the Masaib. But I'm not reciting Masaib yet. But I need your attention. You see, every shaheed that went on the day of Ashura to the Maqtal, when they said Al-Wada, when they gave their salams, final salams to Imam al-Hussein, every shaheed went with the intention to become shaheed, that there is no coming back. That's why they would give their salams and farewell, and they would not come back, except Abbas. Abbas didn't go with the intention of dying. Al-Abbas, salamullahi alayhi, went with the intention to come back with the water. There's a difference here. Even though Ali Akbar does come back, we know in the Maqtal he comes back for a brief time and then he goes. That's something else. But Abu al-Fadl does not go to fight. Some of the historians say he didn't take a sword. He just took a spear to defend himself. And he didn't go with the intention of dying. He went with the intention of bringing water. One of the ulama says, water meant more for Abbas than his whole life that day. Did you know on the night of Ashur, Abul Fadl Abbas dug a well. It's in the Maqatil. That night, the desperation of the thirst was such that Imam Hussein says to, "Oh Abbas, bring your brothers, the sons of and dig a well. Maybe we'll find water." But the Maqtal says they dug a well and there was no water. And so Abul Fadl closed the well. Pour the sand back. Now imagine what it means. This is before he goes on the day of Ashura. Imagine what this means for Abul Fadl Abbas. He goes with the intention of coming back. What does he take? You know, he takes a leather bag, water. Now for those, our generation has never used a leather bag for water. We use plastic bottles. Maybe the elders have never used it either. But those that have will tell you that if leather becomes dry, the leather bag, it's not ready to take water until it's put in the water, it becomes soft, expands, and then takes the water in. So when Abul Fadl is now, imagine this, he's heading towards the Furat. As he goes towards the Furat, that water bottle is with him. It's not just, we only speak about the water bottle on the way back. But he took the bottle with him on his way there. And to protect that water bottle, that bag of water, is more important than his own life. Because one arrow that pierces it, that bag is now useless. So you can imagine how he protected that water bag until he got to the Furat. When he gets to the Furat, he spends some time there. It's not that he gets in and gets out. He must have opened the bag, it's dry, puts it in the water till it softens up, it's leather, opens up. 3 days it's dry. The heat of Karbala, the desert, until eventually he fills it. But the Maqatil, the Maqtal says, he enters the Furat. The question is, he could have done it at the, by the side, where the water begins. But he goes inside the Furat. He comes off the horse. And he takes the water. Yeah? And then he throws the water. This itself requires lectures to be understood. What on earth happened there? The enemies were confused. What is he doing? One of them says, he's saying something. What is he saying? Is he reciting the Quran? Why did he just hold the water and then he throws it back? What is this? Some of those things deserve analysis, revision, to go back. What is he saying? And he comes close. Is he reciting the Quran? He says, no, I went to listen. And he says, oh Abbas, how can you drink when Hussein is thirsty? One of the writers, he writes, when he took the water, ثُمَّ ذَكَرَ عَطَشَ الْحُسَيْنِ, and then he remembers the thirst of Hussein. One of the ulama, beautifully he says, Marhum Sayyid Allama Zishan Haidar Jawadi, rahimahullah. When he comments on this, and other ulama, they comment on this, they say, did he really forget that? Because what does the Maqtal say? He took the water and he remembered Hussein's thirst. But alim, one of the ulama, he says, that's not true. When did he forget Hussein's thirst to remember it? Loyalty of Abbas is such that he would never forget the thirst of Hussein. So what do we do of this? He said, no, this is the word of the Rawi. The narrator says this. This is his understanding. The narrator thought that Abbas forgot Hussein, but that is not the case. This is the fahm of the Rawi. This is the understanding of the narrator. He thought Abul Fadl, no. But Abbas was so serious. And so he took the water, why? To show the people, oh people, This water, it's not far from us. It's in our control. We have conquered the Euphrates. All alone, he conquers Furat. Like Musa conquers the Nile. He conquers the Furat. And he says, this has no value. That form of loyalty. You know, people are recognized by their sifat, their characteristics. So-and-so person donates in the masjid, mashallah, he's sakhi. So-and-so person helps in the masjid, mashallah, he's a khadim, he does service. So-and-so person does something for those who come here to mourn. You say, mashallah, he has this. He's brave. He has a lot of knowledge. He's a good speaker. He's known because of his characteristics. And when you say Abbas is known because of his loyalty. But no, I go a step forward. Abbas is not known because of his loyalty. Loyalty is known through Abbas. Yeah? This is the difference. Somebody is known because he's pious, she's righteous, and mashallah, he does this for the mosque, and they donate, and they're generous, and they're sakhi. Great, they're known for good characteristics. They're known because of those characteristics. But we don't say that about Abul Fadl Abbas. Otherwise, that would make loyalty higher than Abbas. But loyalty is not high. Abbas is higher than loyalty. Loyalty today is known through Abul Fadl. Sacrifice today is known through Hussein. Hussein is not known through sacrifice. That is level. That's a lower level. If that's our understanding, that's a lower level of Hussein. Hussein and Abul Fadl are higher, greater. These characteristics are lower. The sifat are lower. There is sifat, but the essence, the zat of one of the ulama, marhum, Allama Sayyid Sibt Hassan, he says, this is his understanding. He says, I think that the reason Abul Fadl enters the Furat is that he was so serious about getting back to the Mukhayyam. He was so dead serious about getting back to Sakina. He enters the Furat until his clothes are drenched, so that if he himself makes it back alive, he will squeeze some water out for Sakina. And you remember? His arm was cut, he kept going. His second arm is cut, he kept going. It is only when the arrow pierces the water bag, which pierces his heart, he stops. He doesn't stop. Do you know what he does? No arms. The water is leaking, as one of the poets says. It's not that the water came out of the bag. The ruh, the soul of Abbas came out of his body. But even then, when he had nothing, he turns back to the Furat. Let me try again. This is why Abbas is higher and loyalty is below. And so, Abbas, until his final moments, this is what he had learned. This is what he had gained from Baneen to go and get water. Ali ibn Abi Talib went to get water in Badr. He got it. The difference is Abbas went to get water. And he was killed in the way of that. Recite salawat, please. Final point or so, inshallah, and then I want to recite some masail. Go back to where we began. The importance of giving water. It's like giving life. Even the enemies were given water by Ahlul Bayt. Hur stops Imam al-Hussein. Imam Hussein gives him water. Remember? When they stopped him? Hur met Imam al-Hussein in a state where his whole army was thirsty. Imam Hussein says, give them water. Not only that, give their horses water. Siffin, when Muawiyah stopped the water, now Imam Ali takes it. Could you imagine? When Imam Ali now gave water to the people of Sham. Could you imagine what was going through his mind? That the same people will not give water to my son. Because when he passed through, after Siffin, when he passes through Karbala, he passes Nainawa. This is before Karbala. He sits under a tree and he begins to cry. And they say to Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Abbas says to him, Ya Ali, what do you cry? What brings tears? The Imam Salamullah alayhi says, this is the land in which my son will be killed thirsty. And his family members. When the third caliph was surrounded and he was to be killed in his palace, they had surrounded him. He said, we're going to kill him. Those who were sick and tired of his corruption, that this man is corrupt. It's time to revolt, rebel, and try to bring a change. You know what they did? They surrounded him, they said, no water for him. Imam Ali says, no. I'll send him water. Because water is for everybody, good or bad. However, this dunya is a dunya of amal where you get water. But akhirah is different. That is not a place of amal, deed. That is a place of jaza. The good will have their day and the bad will have their day. Amir al-Mu'mineen, this world gave water to everybody. But there at the pond of Kawthar, it is only those who truly have the hubb and the love of Ali and Hassan and Hussein and Fatima that will get the water. That day is different. Dunya is different. Here everybody will have it. You have time. The choice is yours. But over there there's no time for deeds. It's now time to see jaza or saza. What you've done. Good, the pond of Kawthar. Bad, take him away. That time is gone. This was here. See? This is how the tradition of giving water has existed in the Hashemites, Abu Talib, and the sons of Abu Talib. Now when it comes to Karbala, you see, thirst is the thing. When you're thirsty and somebody gives you water, at first, with the first sip of water you take, the thirst only intensifies. It's not that one sip and you're good to go, no. Until you've had a good drink of water, the thirst does not get quenched. You drink a bit, you want more. You drink, you want more. At first, the thirst intensifies. Then the thirst is quenched. The first stage and then the second stage. Now, even after Ashura and Shami Ghariban, when they say the water was now, Furat was now open, and the water came, how much water do you really think came? Tons and tons of water? Volumes of water? No. Whatever water was given to Al Muhammad was very little. Very little. Only enough to live. Throughout, and as we are now entering into Safar, the month of Safar, the masa'ib continue. The thirst continues. It's not that they had a good drink of water and they're good to go. No. They would only get the leftovers. Sometimes not even that. Imagine, the sooner somebody was killed on the day of Ashura, the sooner their thirst was quenched. The companions of Imam Hussein, usually what would happen is The Imams, Ahlul Bayt, would send their own sons first and then the companions. But on the day of Ashura, we see the total opposite. The friends go first and the family members go after. Why? Because Imam Hussein knew nobody's going to survive. In other wars, there were survivors and there were those who were killed. Karbala, Ashura, Imam Hussein knew nobody would survive. These are my companions. These are my ashab. Why would I keep them thirsty? Let them go. And my grandfather Rasulullah will give them water. And so Habib goes, and Muslim goes, and Hilal goes, and Abdullah goes, and Zuhair goes, and Abdullah ibn Umar. All of the companions, they go one by one, and as they are killed, Rasulullah gives them the water of the house of Kawthar. And then Ali Akbar goes. And you know, Ali Akbar is one of the shuhada. He comes back. Ya Abata, oh father, the thirst is killing me. Ya Abata, if there was only a drop of water, if I had just a drop of water. You know what the Imam does? The Imam embraces him. One of the tradition states, he gets him to feel his own tongue. And when Ali Akbar feels the tongue of Hussein, he says, oh father, your tongue is drier than mine. This is why Imam Sahibul Zaman says in Ziyaratul Nahiya, peace be upon those dry, ripped lips of Hussein. Peace be upon those who were killed thirsty. When Imam al-Hussein was buried by Imam al-Sajjad, what does he write on his grave? He says, هَذَا قَبْرُ الْحُسَيْنِ الَّذِي قَتْلُوا عَطْشَانًا. This is the grave of the one who was killed thirsty. When Ali Akbar falls from the horse, Imam al-Hussein rushes towards him. This is his son. You know, when Abbas fell, Imam Hussein said, my back is broken. But when Akbar fell, Imam Hussein says, Ya Bunayya, oh my son Ali, call me, your father cannot see anymore. It is as if losing his son took his sight, like losing Yusuf took the sight of Yaqub. Ajrakum ala Allah, O Shia. Imagine this, Imam al-Hussein comes on the body of Ali and al-Akbar. What does he say? He says, Ya Abata, O father, when he sees his father in this grief, when he sees his father in this state, what does he say? O father, Hada Jaddi Rasulullah. O father, don't cry, for my grandfather Rasulullah has come. He's giving me water of Jannah. Ajrakum ala Allah, O Shia. Imagine this. Janabe इमाम हुसैन अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम अपने सारे असहाब को भेज देते हैं, एक एक करके अपने आल अपने बेटों को भेज रहे हैं। अब वक्त आ गया कि जनाब अब्बास भी चले गए, कोई ना रहा। यानी जो जितनी देर जिंदा रहा उतना प्यासा रहा, और जो जितनी जल्दी शहीद हो गया उसकी प्यास को रसूल खुदा ने आब कौसर से सैराब किया। अब यकीन तो जानिए कि जनाब अब्बास भी शहीद हो गए। अब्बास भी बहुत प्यासे थे, बहुत प्यास थी हज़रत अब्बास को, लेकिन सबका प्यासा होना समझ आता है। लेकिन सबसे आखिर में जो शहीद हुआ वो 6 महीने का बच्चा, वो 6 माह कितना प्यासा होगा। भाई जनाब अली अकबर ने तो कहा था ना मुझे प्यास लगी है, लेकिन ये बच्चा इतना छोटा था, ये तो कह भी नहीं सकता था कि बाबा मैं प्यासा हूँ। बस खामोशी से कभी माँ को देखता है, कभी फूफी को देखता है, कभी अपने बाबा को देखता है। कितना प्यासा होगा ये बच्चा। लेकिन आखिर एक वक्त वो भी आ गया कि ये बच्चा भी सैराब हो गया। बच्चे ने पानी मांगा, जालिम ने तीरे से शौबा से सैराब किया। हाँ आज़ादारो, लेकिन मेरा मौला हुसैन असर आशूर तक जिंदा रहा। अब हुसैन की प्यास का आलम क्या होगा। हाँ आज़ादारों में कैसे अर्ज करूँ मेरा मौला हुसैन असर आशूर, जब शिमर का खंजर चला तो आप भी सैराब हो गए। रसूल खुदा ने आपको आबे कौसर से पानी दिया होगा, लेकिन एक जुमला अर्ज करूं भाई, हुसैन की प्यास की भी हद है। क्या है हद हुसैन के प्यास की? असर आशूर मेरे मौला हुसैन की प्यास की हद है, लेकिन ज़ैनब की प्यास की कोई हद नहीं है। ज़ैनब की प्यास की क्या हद होगी, सकीना की प्यास की कोई हद नहीं है। इसीलिए जब शाम के रास्ते में एक मकाम, जिस मकाम को हम्स कहते हैं, उस मकाम में अहले बैत को रोका गया तो शिमर ने अपने फौजियों को, अपने सिपाहियों को पानी पिलाया। अब जनाब सकीना देख रही है कि शिमर अपने फौजियों को पानी दे रहा है, अपने घोड़ों को सैराब कर रहा है। कहती है फूफी ज़ैनब, अगर मुझे इजाज़त हो तो मैं शिमर से जाके कुछ पानी मांग लूँ, हो सकता है वो मुझे पानी दे दे। जनाब ज़ैनब ने कहा, ए सकीना, ये बहुत खबीस है, ये बहुत जालिम है, लेकिन मैं तुम्हें रोकूंगी नहीं। हाँ अरबाब आज़ा ज़रा जुमले सुनिएगा। बीबी कहती है मैं तुम्हें रोकूंगी नहीं, क्योंकि तुम्हारे बाबा हुसैन ने भी पानी मांगा था, जाओ पानी मांग लो, शायद उस जालिम को तरस आ जाए। सुनेंगे ये बच्ची कैसे आई है शिमर के पास, हुसैन की यतीमा बच्ची। ऐ शिमर, मैं तुझसे पानी तो नहीं मांगूंगी, लेकिन हाँ इतना ज़रूर कहूँगी, अगर तू सबको पानी पिला दे, उसके बाद कुछ पानी बच जाए तो वो चंद कतरे हमें दे दे। भाई शिमर ने कुछ ना कहा, तारीख ने क्या लिखा कि शिमर ने सब सिपाहियों को पानी पिला दिया, शिमर ने सब घोड़ों को सैराब कर दिया। अब जनाब सकीना देख रही है कि कुछ पानी बच गया है, अब यह पानी हमें देगा। लेकिन जालिम ने क्या किया, एक मर्तबा जालिम मुड़ा, सकीना देख रही है, मश का दहाना खोला और सकीना के सामने सारा पानी जमीन पर गिरा दिया। हाजादारों, एक मर्तबा गीली मट्टी को सकीना ने उठा के अपने सर पे रखा, कभी अपने सीने पे रखा। हाँ फूफी अम्मा, इस जालिम को अब भी हम पे तरस ना आया। मैं कहूँगा ऐ फूफी, मैं कहूँगा ऐ सकीना, अभी तो ये जालिम आपके बाबा का सर नोके नेज़ा पे जब आपके सामने लाएगा। अला लानतुल्लाहि अलल कौमिज़ ज़ालिमीन व सयअलमुल लज़ीना ज़लमू अय्य मुनक़लिबिन यनक़लिबून वल आक़िबतु लिल मुत्तक़ीन इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि राजिऊन। मातम हुसैन।